This is the Happy Weight podcast. My name is Aoife Dean, and this is Trisha Norton. You know, it's so cute that you're on today, right? Because a lot of people have come by the podcast in the last few months. And the way Spotify, you know, lists episodes, it's like the oldest ones first. So Your Mother, Your Weight, which I think we recorded in 2022.
Did we?
Yeah. Because remember that one that we did about like my story was when you were living in Clon in March 2023 on Paddy's Day.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like basically people who've just stumbled across the podcast are listening to all the episodes with you. And now I'm like, this is a bit of a like change in era because I think me and Jack will be like filming episodes and putting them on YouTube. So it's like the start of a new chapter. So it's like a full circle moment.
Amazing.
So thanks for being here. And people really love you. Remember that?
You're like, I don't know why.
It's odd.
What is a question?
Yeah, it's so weird. Remember that really nice email you got from someone?
Oh, yeah.
She was like, she just liked her bands and it put her in a good mood or something.
Yeah.
That was really sweet.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah. But anyways, welcome Trisha Norton. Trisha Norton, as well as all the yoga women's circle, like being so amazing at those events. If you live anywhere near Kilkenny or anywhere where she's hosting them, go to them. And also Trisha is an author and you're bringing out your first poetry book.
Yeah.
And the launch is like in a month.
7th of August.
7th of August. And that's on in Kilkenny. And the tickets are sold out, are they?
Yeah. I'm going to add a few more because they're not even released public yet. So it's kind of, I have to read some more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm going to be at the door with the sum up machine
You're
selling the
take your
books.
money. Yeah.
Nice. And also with what we're talking about today, Trisha found like two of her poems that like fit right in. And you're here with me for the week in West Cork for the literary festival. And like I said, you're not going tomorrow because I'm going to slash your tires. And you're never leaving.
Aggressive friendship.
And if you go to New Zealand, I'm going to ring the guards and tell them you did something and get you deported home.
Lovely. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Just a note. Now it's on a recording. They know that it's a lie.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Okay. Yeah. So also, if you listen to this podcast, by the way, you know, obviously there's no ads in it. There's no sponsorship. Generally recording it in the evenings at like 9 o'clock or Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings earlier. So I would love if you could subscribe or follow or share it with a friend. That would just be massive. I'd really, really appreciate it. That would be so cool. So like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever you can do. Leave a comment, leave a review. If you're more of an email girly, I'm Aoife at happyweight.ie. And Jack is Jack at happyweight.ie if you want to give him negative feedback. And then he can sugarcoat it and like slowly titrate it to me to not hurt my feelings.
Perfect.
Yeah, Constructive. Yeah. Okay, let's start light, Trisha. So what was, before we go so heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We know this rodeo.
Yeah. What was one food like that you remember in the last week or two? And you were like, oh my God, stop the press. People need to know about this. This is so beautiful.
Okay. I cannot say enough about Irish Cafe.
Irish Cafe in Cork.
They're doing a pop-up in Osho. And when I knew I was coming to Cork, I was like, how can I get there on a Monday to get food? And I specifically wrote to them on Instagram to be like, do you do takeaway? And they were like, not normally. I'm like, please, can you make an exception? And you brought it down from the city and we had it.
And
it was the best meal.
And it was
just the best food.
It was like, we got the Irish, like by the time it landed in Drumalig, it was an hour and a half later from getting it from the restaurant. And it was ridiculous.
They're good people. It's great food. It's made with love. I enjoyed every bite. I just adore how they prepare. They just really care about the food and it just feels so good when I eat it. It's so tasty and it's just yum.
Yeah, I know. And you know, I really feel with food, it's like extra bonus points if it's like it tastes lovely, but your belly feels lovely after
like
it.
Bonus points for ours.
Yeah.
Everything is just made so consciously, made with love, and then you can only just feel good after that, you know.
And it's vegetarian, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 And it's one of those, like, all their food is so delicious.
Yeah.
They're the kind of meals that, like, hoodwinks me into thinking maybe I could be a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And then I have a piece.
Whatever they make. I'm
Yeah.
like, wherever you are, I will, like, I'm so sad that when they closed down, I was like, this is a dark, dark day.
Yeah, I'd say
They're
a lot
just-
of people were like that.
Man. I'm so excited for them that they're doing it a no-show, and like anybody who is in Cork or in the vicinity of Cork, go to Osho.
Yes. And I think my one was because sometimes it's not that the food is like over the top, crazy, ridiculous,
It's so
Michelin starred.
nourishing.
But also sometimes a food, I think usually for me, my standout foods of the week are usually that it just happened to be good timing. It's like my body really needed it.
Yeah.
Like taste explosion, whatever. And that was definitely stealing your crisps from the cupboard.
Again, they're sharing. I wasn't hoarding.
But they technically were yours. You bought them.
For sharing.
For sure. Okay, cool. I don't feel so bad. But they were amazing.
Was it the stealing that made them tastier, though?
No.
Oh.
I knew you'd forgive me. But I'm all for like sweets, yummy stuff, processed stuff. I'm all about it for breakfast. I think it's
Sweets?
Yeah. I think it's like the
But it makes you feel sick. Sugar in the first thing in the morning makes me feel sick.
I know we're all different that way.
Oh, fair, okay.
I'm just like not that I do it every day. Like I'm an eggs lady for sure.
For sure.
I think there's a real place for
A bit of sweet
in
after.
breakfast. Yeah. Behaviorally, someone coming out of eating and weight issues, having sweets in the morning is a real baller move. Because on diets and when you're being good and when you're being restrictive, you always start off with like,
Really good.
I'll be motivated and I'll have my clean breakfast. And then it gradually goes to
so
shit
strict.
after 4 p.m. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, when I'm working with clients, when they're getting in a better and better place, like, you know, it's just freedom. Sure. Like, you know, food freedom is always a great sign of your eating, that you know you're free to have stuff. And that in no way means you're interested in making yourself feel disgusting or uncomfortable or eat stuff you don't like. So it actually makes you really discerning, which helps your weight. And I've had a few clients that it's like, that just sets them up. Like, you know, it just proves they can have it. So the food noise goes away.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
this is a pattern I see a lot. Okay. So there's a few things that we have to be self-aware of. If we've eating and weight issues, if we've a history of emotional eating, comfort eating, binge eating. And that means that our self-regulation with emotions ain't great. So the two of them can kind of have a perfect storm, right? And basically what I'm talking about is that, say if someone like overeats pasta and so like they're maybe just after the meal or an hour later or the next day, they're like, oh my God, I didn't mean to eat that much. I was not meant to eat pasta today, or I promised myself I wasn't going to eat pasta. And now my belly is so full. Like I feel so bloated. I feel so heavy. I feel so mank. Like with disordered eating, we're actually also really scared. Like we're scared. What does this mean? Like, have I broken everything? Have I undone all the good things I've done this week? Am I gaining weight? Do you know what I mean? So we have that fear, right? So then rather than self-soothing and being like, it's okay, honey. And, you know, so it's like we have to be our own mommy and daddy and be like, Petine, your belly's a bit full. You had a bit too much. Your belly's just saying, hold its horses. That's all it's saying. You haven't done anything wrong. Your weight is not definitely affected by any means. Your belly, this is uncomfortable. What you're feeling is that your belly is uncomfortable. But it's okay. You can survive this feeling. You can survive this feeling for an hour or two, an hour probably, before it starts fading. But what we do when we freak out is we're like, I know what I have to do. I have to not eat pasta. I have to just not eat pasta, so I do not have to come up against this feeling again. Like, I do not want to come up against this feeling again, so it has to go. And I definitely remember that from in relationships and stuff. If there was like a lot of feelings or a lot of love or whatever, I was like, I can't do this. This is too much. It would just be easier to cut out the person and then I don't have to deal with this feeling over and over again. But I just think it's a big lesson that sometimes when you get overexcited about a plan, like even say my podcast, sometimes like people come across the podcast or my work and they're like, you know, they're nearly a little bit like OTT. And I just think we have to be aware that part of eating and weight problems is that dysregulation, that we can be all or nothing, that we can be high, I found the answer, it's all sorted, or low. And like, I think what we need to do is like self-soothe, especially when it comes to eating and stuff, because all we're ever going through, mainly the only hard one, is that like, I feel a bit like physically heavy today. Like, that's the human experience. We can manage that. Or my belly feels really full right now. We can survive that. We can be here now with that feeling without being like, I need to look this up on the internet, or I need to watch a load of people on Instagram taking the injection and find out more about the injections. So does that ring any bells? Do you think you have that in your life? What are your general thoughts?
On dysregulation?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, I get overwhelmed. Like, I have a really sensitive system. And I think the more you begin to embody yourself and fully sit with yourself, that calls for meeting yourself. And actually, when you're more aware and you listen to your inner voice, you hear the lack of compassion on top of the dysregulation.
Yeah.
And that's really awful. So like, even when you were talking about...
That's another thing to just really be aware of, isn't it? It's like you're feeling those feelings, and then, like you say, the lack of compassion that's going on at the same time. It's like,
it makes it worse, because it's like giving out to a child who's upset.
Yeah.
And it's just awful, because giving out to a child who's upset is just like terrible. So it just compounds the fear of feeling like that again, because your internal voice is probably external voices that you've internalized. So it just makes everything way worse and just re-traumatizes yourself. So it's really hard. So like, the actual break in the cycle is compassion. But you know, it is very much a nervous system thing to be able to like titrate in the capacity to hold hard things. Like, that's not something that happens like night and day. It's
also not,
you trip up, you get it. You trip up, get it, trip up. You know, like, it's not a linear thing.
And none of this is logical either. It's not like you hear it and then you do it. It's going to be titration either way.
Yeah, and you have to be in a place where you want to feel better, and the energy it takes to feel better takes more than it does to stay where you are.
100%.
So there has to be that resource within yourself to say, okay, I have the capacity to choose a different option here.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that like, that's a big step to take.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's the work. That's the daily work.
That so is, because even I had a client today, right? And she lost like 7 kilos, and that's been gone since around February, I'd say. And she's stayed the same since. But that's no mean feat, right? Because it's like, she's been on holidays, she's had adult kids home, she's had crazy work. So as in, that is so new. Like, her surviving those few months, or her going through those, you know, that set of 6 months or whatever, wildly different than how she did last year during that span of time, is such a success.
It's a real big success.
It's a huge success. But, and I was saying to her today, right, because she was slipping back into, like, witnessing stuckness, witnessing I'm stuck, I'm still stuck, look at I'm stuck. And I was like, you have to keep remembering that, you know, you're not responding to external conditions. You know, like, it's not about, you know, how you feel in response to external conditions. It's that, well, with weight and eating anyways, you create certain feelings that will change your external conditions. So, and it's always back to the same thing with clients, that it doesn't matter where you are along the journey, whether you've just started a program, you're in it, you've lost some weight, you're 2 years maintaining it, whatever, it will always be back to right now. Are you being someone who's got a weight problem? Are you being someone who's free of a weight problem? Like, I think there's no trying. I don't think there's a journey. I think we're just embodying, you know, I know what it's like to be that, or I can, you know, it's self-esteem, it's confidence. It's not actually about weight. And I was saying to her, say the woman you were, how you felt about yourself, your self-image, your self-talk, like how you used to treat yourself you know, when we started, you've upped the game majorly to get here. And, you know, that's what afforded you this. But now for the next 7 kilos and positive treatment with food and exercise will require a whole new upgrade again. That's why I think it's a really compassionate way to look at things as well, that like we're growing.
Yeah.
And that's fear as well, is always like there needs to be an immediate solution tomorrow, or
the discomfort is hard to hold, and so that's why the immediacy is there. And the thing is about food is it can be a temporary comfort to get over the discomfort that food has caused you, you know, so it's a vicious cycle. So
well, this is why I was like, basically, you know, at the start we had problems like her feeling guilty after certain foods, or her feeling guilty or having wobbly multiple days. It's like she doesn't have any of that anymore. Yeah. It's really important that she doesn't focus on weight. I would say ever. It's like we focus on the feeling, because the world is your oyster in terms of feeling different in an hour's time, physically, mentally, all the time. Whereas weight will always feel like an Everest, but feeling is, you know, the next half an hour, the next hour. They're the stones we can follow, or the breadcrumbs or whatever, to get to where we want to be. So that's why it's so important to not focus on the things that bring us down, because as you point out, that will just create the need to medicate with food. Yeah. So that's why it's not helpful. But were you saying that you had like gorgeous poems related to this?
Aoife, there's something I prepared earlier.
I honestly, like, if you like poetry, like, buy Trisha's book. Honestly, it's so amazing. Is it going to be? Where did you say it's going to be?
It's going to be on Amazon.
Amazing.
And Kindle, and it's going to be in bookstores.
Amazing.
Yeah. You know, I think the premise of the book is the idea that we pulsate it's called Firefly. So it's the idea that we pulsate at the rate of light that attracts our perfect mate. And there's 6 chapters. Before them are, you know, past loves, and the 5th one is actually about my journey with my own self, you know, coming back into my own self and stop looking for hits outside of me, you know, in whatever way that is. But yeah, there are a couple of poems that I just thought might be relevant. So the first one that I thought might be good is called Breadcrumbs, and it's when you are starving, even a crumb tastes like a mountain. This one is called Addiction, and I definitely had my own addictive tendencies for the very reason we were talking about, which is trying to regulate out of discomfort. But it gets to a point where, you know, addiction is always an external thing, and you're still compounding the feeling inside that's not nice. So this is a very short poem. Addiction. When what is sustaining you is what is poisoning you. And I think that that's literally it. It's like the thing that you think is sustaining you, keeping you well, is actually poisoning you.
But that's like worst case scenario with weight problems. People stop buying nice clothes. They resist meeting up with their friends.
Yeah.
They dread people asking them to go to restaurants to eat out because there will be quote unquote bad foods. And so then they're pretty much sitting at home with the enemy then. You know, they're at home with the bags of crisps or the chocolate or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I think of it as Stockholm syndrome, like you're kind of falling in love with your abuser or whatever. But your poem reminds me of that, like, as in, you know, and it's like what they need is to go out and see friends and again, like, live the life of someone who is their ideal weight.
Another one is Breadcrumbs, which is the idea that when you are starved for anything, the tiny taste of it feels like the holy grail of things, and you're like, I was so starving, I never want this to end. Yeah. And that is a gorging energy, you know, it's a gorge on because you've starved of. And so that can be love. I think it all boils down to love and a sense of home within the self, safety within the body and self, you know. And we starve ourselves in ways and we gorge in ways too. So this one is breadcrumbs. When you are starving, even a crumb tastes like a mountain. And so it's the idea that you accept shitty food, you know, you'd accept like a tiny bit of shitty food and then all of a sudden it tastes like the most delicious thing in the world if you've been starving yourself because you've been saying, you know, food is shit. Or if you've like kept yourself away from all relationships because, you know, relationships were hard and suddenly someone shows you some love, then you're just going to be like, oh my God, this is like the most amazing thing of all time. And then that suddenly becomes the only source of that feeling of ease in your system. It's that sense where you're like, I was starving for this feeling and now I have it and it tastes amazing. I've never tasted anything as good and now all I want to do is gorge on this. But actually, it's just sedating the root thing, which is the discomfort, the original disconnection within the self.
So like, would you agree that if like, say if there was some example of that, like I said, stumbling upon something that you think is the solution and like just going crazy, would you say like, is that a regulation time then?
Yeah, I think it's kind of complex. Give me an example, like if you were feeling what way and
I just really like as in I was talking to a girl today and it was about another health issue, but she'd been kind of obsessing about it a lot. It wasn't a client, actually. She was kind of obsessing about it. And then she was like, I found these surgeons. I found this. And I was like, there just seemed something off about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was that breadcrumb thing, that if you've really like been in murky waters.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, maybe I don't have to be in murky waters.
Yeah. But that, like if you're drowning, you're going to literally take any rope that's going to pull you out. You're just going to be like, help me.
I know.
And it's funny because the saving thing, I don't think it's an isolated thing. I think that like I think there's a lot of kind of trope online, not just even, I don't know about the weight world, but like in the self-help world, let's just say, you know, about like needing to do it alone and by yourself and to like heal yourself and do all of the healing to get better. And it's like, you can't do that in isolation. Actually, like we're very fundamentally community based creatures. Like we actually really need others to like...
Yeah, it's pushing a rock up a hill if you're adding isolation into the mix with any problem, actually.
No, we don't need to do it by ourselves. Like we need to have the capacity to regulate, but we also like, it's very valid to have someone that you can co-regulate with, you know, even if it's an animal or nature or whatever it is, like that we are not isolated beings. That was so important to my journey, you know. And my somatic therapist, Michelle, who is honestly amazing, but that's what really, we retrained my nervous system to sit with I sat with my discomfort, and but she was with me in it, not trying to fix me with it or save me, but just to be with me so I could actually regulate myself. And actually that was the work, not her saving me, but her being present while I did it. The thing is often, you know, shame by its very nature doesn't want to be mentioned. Because shame is a thing, that's the whole nature of shame. Is like, you were like, I'm ashamed of this thing, therefore I do not want to mention it. But we often have shame around emotions if we were not allowed to express, or we were not held with emotions, which is often why, you know, and I've definitely been, you know, done this in my life, but like stuffed down emotions with food. Where we literally just don't want them to come up because it's too much. And
then that's a whole new distraction, because if you make yourself over full, then you have to focus on the physical discomfort, which is a little bit like people cutting themselves, because if you create this physical distraction, gets you out of your head. And then what you also get to do then is like, oh shit, I've done it again. When will I lose weight? When will I cop on? You've completely changed the topic, and you've completely neglected the origin of the feeling, and we've forgotten to actually soothe ourselves with that original feeling.
But like often the feeling of disconnection, and then not being like the original feeling not being witnessed and not being held in that. And so then you never trained yourself to hold it. And so then you're trying to do it alone. So actually finding a safe person or place where you can actually be held and witnessed is just vital to that, to the like, what would I call it? Like the deprogramming of your system with that feeling, which will take away that need to hide it and stuff it down.
And then a little internal family systems of like, if I was being the nicest mommy in the world ever to myself, what would I say in this situation? You know, or if I was the nicest daddy ever, it's like, regardless of what your parents were like, as in, what do you need right now?
Yeah.
I think that
it's so lovely, but like often we don't have the space to think about it in the moment that we're in that, you know, like it can be really hard to reach for.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a blueprint for what a nice mother sounds
I know,
like, or a
sometimes
nice
clients
dad,
say that to me.
there might be a lens through which you can't see yourself receiving that. That might be hard to even...
That's new.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be new. That was new. I remember that being new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're like...
Or I don't deserve
I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
It's not your norm. You're like, I can give it.
Yeah.
I know other people deserve it, but like not me, because I'm full of this sticky shame and I'm just like awful. So like I do not deserve to
And
be.
it sounds like
it sounds weird. Yeah.
And I know I meant to do it, but I don't really believe it.
Yeah.
But that's why I think the Louise Hay stuff is like
the
practice.
Yeah,
like it's literally practice. And I think as well with all of that, like in that exact moment, like there is really an opportunity for gratitude, you know, because I kind of think sometimes when we're at that, you know, I'm at the bottom of Everest and I need to get all the way to the top, and maybe this is the thing that could get me all the way to the top. Like, I think actually part of the problem is like, you're not at the bottom of Everest. Like, you're not. Like, as in, where you are is really good for today. Like, where you are is perfect for right now. And say, especially with eating and weight issues, it's not as if someone has eating issues like every minute of every hour of every day. If someone had a camera on you, it's not as if you're always disordered. You know, I think we have to give ourselves some credit.
That's why you need external people looking in, giving you perspective. And you like to be brave enough to share where you are, and then have someone be like, wait, I think you're great. Like, you're doing great. Like, you know, like that is like, oh, I can look up.
Yeah.
Someone's, you know, and like that courage to reach out and actually share hard things sometimes, you know, with safe people. You don't have to do it with everybody, obviously, because it's not everybody's a safe sounding board, but
Totally.
like, you know, the lens of trauma is narrow.
Yeah.
And it is a lonely place.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy place to be alone.
Yeah.
So I would imagine, you know, the work that you do, that's why it's so important and that's why it's so beneficial and people have such great results, because, you know, there's no shame with you, because you're like, been there, I know it, like, I understand, no shame, get it, I'm here with you, I understand. You are such a safe place for people to come to, because the fear that will be judged compounds shame. But when you're like, oh, I can tell this person this story because... And that's why the podcast is so important, because people get to hear your story without, you know, actually coming to you and knowing it. And maybe secretly in their own way, they're doing work with friends or family or partners or, you know, nature or higher power or whatever their connection is, that they're able to like say, actually, maybe I don't deserve to hold all this by myself.
That'd be lovely.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Be really cool. But let's wrap it up. And also, can I just say, thanks so much for being here. And it's also like such a vibey week. Like a lot of good things are happening for you. So I'm like happy to have you here on a good vibe, and you're not welcome when you're not. I'm joking. Yeah, did you want to say something? Yeah.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, if you feel like going to look up Fireflies, and then you can buy my book on Amazon and Kindle and on my website.
Class.
From August.
That'll be amazing.
2025, let's timestamp that.
Ooh, yeah.
Because who knows, in 2027, weird.
It'll be out there, man.
2022 is when we did our first one.
Yes.
And now it's 3 years later.
Yeah, this is 3 years since the first episode. Anymore. Everything's changed. Yeah.
Where was it? Where was 2022?
My flat in Cork, drinking wine. I don't even drink anymore. Wild.
I bought a house in Kilkenny and I'm like publishing my book.
Crazy. But yeah, and also if you're listening to this, if this stuff is helpful, I also have a happy hypno weight program that's €99. That's on my website. I'm developing one right now on food noise. Food noise is such a big block with moving forward with our behaviours, how we're feeling, weight loss, etc. I work one-to-one with clients. So yeah, check out my website, happyweight.ie, and please subscribe and follow and everything to this podcast. And thank you so much for being here. Okay. Mwah, 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 mwah.